And then when we go look at the odds here, Darren is actually underdog. He's plus 120, and Dricus is minus 140. So this is good money because there is a chance that Darren could be a live dog in this fight.
No, it's not.
We have Darren Till versus Dricus du Plessis. I'm gonna just tell you straight up, man. I think Dricus gonna do whatever he want to do to Darren in this fight. The most I can see is Darren doing really good in that first round because Dricus does this thing where he get off to a slow start, and Darren actually can get off to a fast start.
Yeah,
it seems like Darren ultimately find ways to lose, but Dricus, when he fought Brad Tavares, he started off real slow. Seemed like he was nervous or anxious or something. But it's like from rounds 2 and 3, he just took over and did whatever he wanted to do. The only thing is, Darren, stylistically, he got an advantage in the striking department because I think this is going to be just a striker versus striker for the most part. Unless Darren starts trying to wrestle, maybe just learning some stuff from Kamzat. But I don't think he will. And even if he did want to start wrestling, Dricus' takedown defense will be good enough to defend Darren Till.
It's 100%.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be able to defend Darren Till's takedown. Stylistically, with that striking, Dricus, he throws punches from these different angles. A lot of times he don't throw straight punches. But Darren Till, if he ain't got nothing else, he got two things. He got straight punches and he got a little bit of power. And that might be his best chance.
And he got defensive awareness too. When Tyron beat him, Tyron said the only way to catch him is you got to let him come to you and counter him. Because he was saying how good Darren Till's striking defense is. Yeah. And then Dricus, he ain't the most precise fighter too. The only thing that kind of scares me with Darren Till, the only thing that scares me with Dricus is sometimes he throw punches with his hands down. And I'm worried because you understand Darren did catch Robert Whitaker coming in a couple times.
He caught a few people.
So it's like, I don't want to see Dricus fight with his hands down and get overly aggressive and get countered. I can see him get countered with elbow, left straight.
100%. And then I'm looking at the significant strikes. And Darren Till lands 2.26 strikes a minute. And Dricus surprisingly lands 6.55.
I thought it was more than that.
I thought it was less than that because he's not the most, I thought he wasn't the most accurate. But it seems maybe it's just because he's throwing these big looping hooks and punches, and it's like his kicks he looked very stiff when he throw his kicks.
You want to the reason why it's so high is because he got a lot of fights that don't last long. Because when he fight what's his name, Trevor Giles, that's his name.
Oh yeah,
because that fight didn't last long, so it makes sure significant strikes landed.
But it's for a minute though.
Per minute, yeah. But if the fight don't last long, if he was going to decision more, it definitely would go down. Doesn't make sense.
Because he'd be tired.
Yeah, he'd be tired, man.
But then the significant strikes landed. Darren Till 46%, Dricus 51%. So they're both hovering around that 50% mark, or I'll say averaging around 48.
Hey, I'm gonna be honest, man. No disrespect to Darren Till. Some of these fights, he'd be doing little to nothing in these fights, man.
Now that's another great point because when I really go back and look at Darren Till's record,
preach.
It's some sketchy stuff going on over here, man. So the Stephen Thompson fight, he definitely didn't win. But if you look at where they were fighting at, they were fighting in London, England. So of course they made you the main event. They're going to give you that fight. The Tyron Woodley fight was not competitive. The Jorge fight, obviously,
he had moments. We can't take away the moments he had against
Jorge. The fight
Jorge.
lasted 2 rounds, bro. And it was a 5-round fight.
Because Jorge don't get dropped often, though. You know, we can't ignore that.
And I understand that, but this was 2 rounds out of a 5-round fight. Now, if this was only 3 rounds, I could say that it was a little bit closer before the knockout. But this was a 5-round fight. Kevin Gastelum, they were basically saving Darren Till from losing 3 in a row. We watched that fight. Kevin clearly won that fight.
So you can argue that he lost 5 in a row. Darren Till.
Low key, I don't want to say low key, but surprisingly, he had a really competitive fight with Robert.
But that was after the knockout loss.
But that's after Robert got knocked out by Israel and had to play it safe. And it almost looked like Darren was finna knock him out with the elbow, but he just caught him and Robert cleaned it up. And then we get to the Derek Brunson fight where Darren did good on the feet, but the cardio. Now, one thing, a few weeks ago, didn't Darren Till tell the UFC that he didn't want to be in no 5-round fights? What's up with that?
Man, it just... Bruh, I mean, we never been in a 5-round fight before, man. It's something about being in there where it's kind of like they have to train harder. Because you understand, when they train for a 3-round fight, it ain't the same as them training for a 5-round fight, man. So you got to go even harder. And it's kind of hard to bet on somebody after they say that, though. Because even we know Darren Lewis don't want to go 5 rounds, but at least he'll go out there and say, okay, well, I'm going to go 5 rounds.
Okay, so this makes sense, man, and I understand this. He said, basically, I said to the UFC, I said, I don't want another main event. I said, I'm sick of doing 5 rounds. I just want to get back on my feet, and that's what came. So, it is what it is, mate. Okay, and I understand that. He just want to get back on his feet because, low-key, he should really be on a 5-fight losing streak. No, he should be on a 6-fight losing streak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So mentally, that's taking a toll on him, and I understand that because with the Robert Whittaker fight, he got at least 1 or 2 of those rounds.
He got about 2 of them.
So if that's only a 3-round fight, he maybe could have been able to do a little bit more. And then you got to realize something.
Yeah.
His most recent fights, man. When you look at Donald Cerrone, you look at Stephen Thompson, you look at Tyron Woodley. These are 5-round fights. Jorge Masvidal, he got to prepare. He had to prepare. Kelvin was 3-round fight, but then Robert and Derek Brunson. Dude, in his last few fights, he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 5-round fights. So he ain't trying to go another 25 minutes. But luckily for him, this is only 15 minutes, which I think is going to be good for him mentally.
Yeah. Because
now he can just train for that 3-round fight. And he won't do that thing where he starts off winning and then lose. Because now, it's only 3 rounds. But on the opposite side of that, man, Dricus du Plessis, he only got 1 decision. That was against Brad Tavares, who was notoriously tough to finish. He had that 1 calendar year where he got finished by Nate Marquardt or somebody else, but don't Nate be
Robert Whittaker.
Yeah, but when you get finished by Nate Marquardt,
ask questions.
I always ask questions about that. And Robert Whittaker went on to be a champion, so Brad is a very tough guy to finish, man. And Dricus dropped him several times, and I'm talking about after clearly losing the first round. In fact, almost being dominated. So
the thing is with Darren Till, he's notorious for hurting people, coming close to finishing them, and for whatever reason, he don't get the job done. And I don't know if it's maybe his power is overrated, or maybe, in my opinion, I just think he's real stiff on the ground. Because sometimes when you hurt somebody, your ground game got to be enough to finish them, and he ain't got that flexibility there.
There are certain strikers who they don't have crazy power in the hands. We wouldn't say they're Anthony Johnson or Johnny Hendricks or one of those type of guys, but they can hurt you like a Carlos Condit. Donald Cerrone is the perfect example. How many people did Donald hurt on the feet and it ended it with him winning by submission?
Mm-hmm.
Because if he'd have tried to just go for the knockout, that person might have been able to survive and get to the next round, or just avoid the big knockout punch.
I see what you're saying, but what I'm saying is sometimes fighters, you ever see a fighter training and they're on the ground and they're doing ground and pound to the heavy bag? I don't think Darren Till works on that. I think he works on the striking. I don't think he works on if I hurt my opponent, I'm a ground and pound and finish him out.
But that's what I'm saying. You got to have that following sequence once you hurt him.
Yeah.
Because you might not have 1 punch knockout power. Like Dricus has 1 punch knockout power.
Yeah.
If he hits you clean, the fight is over. It's pretty much done. If Darren hits you clean, he can definitely drop you. He can wobble you. He can rock you. But he may not knock you out cold. So now if you drop somebody or if you hurt them and they're backing up, what are you going to do now? What's the follow-up sequence? Darren, like you said, he don't really have that bridge from I dropped you to I finished the fight. There's a bridge, there's a gap there that he has not been able to close because he hurt Robert, he hurt Derek Brunson, he hurt
everybody he fought against.
He hurt Jorge.
He didn't hurt Kelvin though. That's the only person
he didn't even touch Tyron, but it's like, man, why did you lose these fights? Because when he hurt him, he didn't have no follow-up. And if you don't have 1 punch knockout power, then you kind of in trouble. So for this fight, now let's go let me look at the reach real quick. The reach advantage is definitely going to Dricus du Plessis. He has 76-inch reach. Darren Till has 74.5-inch reach.
I think it's interesting because I think Jorge had longer reach than Darren Till too. Even though I think Jorge a little bit shorter than Darren, it was weird because his arms a little bit longer. So maybe there might be enough. I think Tyron Woodley arms longer than his too. So maybe he might struggle against guys who are a little bit.
And I'm looking at these statistics right here. Grappling wise, Darren actually has 41% accuracy on takedowns, except for he go for half a takedown a round. So you know what that means. He ain't really going for it. But low key, Dricus actually goes for 1 takedown per 50, so 1 takedown a fight. I got that wrong. Darren goes for half a takedown per fight, per 15 minutes. and he's been in 25-minute fights, so this actually lower than that. Meanwhile, Dricus at least goes for one a round. He probably just doing it just so they can bite on it so he can go for the strikes.
And I don't think that matters because it's going to be a striking match, man.
Now, when we go look at the odds here, Darren is actually underdog. He's plus 120, and Dricus is minus 140. So this is good money because there is a chance that Darren could be a live dog in this fight.
No, it's not. I'm gonna tell you one thing: if some kind of way this fight go 3 rounds, the only way I see Darren win this fight if this fight go 3 rounds, because then you can always argue that Darren can lose 3 10-7 rounds in a row. You can always argue that Darren won.
No, but hold on, go back, dude, because I'm still in shock when I said Darren Till is a live dog and he always has a chance to win the fight, and you said no, you don't.
You don't? You think? No, man, no.
Okay, this is my beef with Dricus. The striking defense bad, man. The knockout. Look, Trevin Giles was doing whatever he wanted to do. Hey, let's call it what it is. He actually was finna beat Dricus. I think he was actually going to knock him out. And then he got caught. Like, he literally dropped his hands for 1 second and got caught with 1 punch. Okay, I got to ask you a question. Do you think Darren Till can hurt Dricus? Think about his striking defense. Dricus. So you think he can? You think,
yeah.
Okay, do you think that Dricus can knock out Darren Till with 1 punch?
Yes.
Do you think that's going to happen?
Okay, the issue
is water wet?
No,
it's not wet.
Is the sky blue?
It's the feeling of touching water that makes it wet. You know how people ask that dumb question.
Yeah, no. It's the thing is, we're talking about Darren Till from now. If we were talking about Darren Till from 2 or 3 years ago, he has a chance. But it's just something where he's arguably 0-5 in the middleweight division. Some of the stuff he's been saying on Twitter is almost like he don't even want to be fighting low key.
Hold on, what about all the fights that Darren had to pull out of where it was like if any of those fights happened, he was gonna get beat anyway?
Jack Hermanson, who else? It was somebody else. I was like, hold on, he was scheduled to fight him.
Every last one of those fights he would have lost.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm tripping.
Every last one of those fights he would have lost, man, and he better be. Look, Robert Whitaker,
Marvin Vettori.
They were gonna do a rematch. And then Jack Hermanson, Marvin Vettori, Derek Brunson. Derek actually went on to actually beat him in the fight. Then Jack Hermanson. Man, it's almost like, I hate to say it, but it's like, I think Darren sometimes pulls out of fights.
Because he know he's going to lose.
Because he know he's going to lose. And Darren, he keep posting, I'm going to tell you why I'm going to have to pick against Darren. He keep posting these pictures of him being injured and fighting through injuries and being like, another day at the gym, another day at the office or whatever. And you posting pictures with your eye all busted up. It's almost like you making a pre-excuse.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So,
it's not even that. It's the fact that you're talking about Khamzat name a lot. It's almost like you his what's it called, dude? I don't know, man. Not whipping boy, but it's I don't know, man.
Like his little sidekick or something.
Yeah, you his sidekick, man. It's like, bro, what are you doing? And you see them training together, and you can tell that Khamzat going 5%, and it's like, bro, like I don't want to see this crap, man. It's like
I know he's like
it's like an elementary school fight. They both swing in the air.
Well, except for whenever they grappling, Khamzat is destroying him, and it's not even competitive. And
I think Darren Till chose the weakest person in the top 20 in the middleweight division. I think because Dricus definitely is. I don't know if he's in top 15. I think he's in the top 15 actually. I think he chose the weakest person in the top 15. I think he chose the weakest fighter in the middleweight division's top 15.
I can kind of agree with that because Dricus is at a point where it's time for him to cross over and see, can you fight these people at a higher tier? And so it's a good meeting ground because for Darren, if you can stop Dricus, that's a good W. It's a good solid win, 3-round fight. If Dricus can beat Darren, and Darren has been in there with everybody, former champions, former contenders, then it shows that Dricus can probably be in the top 10. So I'm just calling it what it is, man. Dricus gonna go in there and knock him out, and then he might go in there and knock out Jack Hermanson.
He's gonna go Roman. He might fight Roman. That's gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
Striker versus grappler. But yeah, Dricus. When they first announced, I said Dricus.
Yeah.